We are cooking now. So I'm at speed number 6. As you can see right there, speed number 6 on my Kitchenaid 6-quart stand mixer. This is part 3. Where am I at? There we are. Part 3 of my Pane de Spagna video. Let me bring you back up to speed. Buddy of mine tried to mangle my recipe. This is what they came out with. They basically butchered it. They took stuff out, they put stuff in. I don't know what the heck they were trying to do. But I'm doing this video to basically show everybody how I make my Pane de Spagna. We've been going for about 10 minutes or so on the stand mixer. What's in there is 8 eggs, there's 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, and there's 250 grams of sugar. Right, if you go back in the video playlist, you'll see the entire ingredient list. Now would be a good time to start buttering the pan, right? Your bun pan or whatever you're gonna use. And also start preheating the oven. So let's do this first, because this is almost there. But let's do this first, and then I will go to the next step in the process. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some butter. And everything should be coming together pretty quickly. So there's no real rhyme or reason to this. I use, whatever butter I got available or whatever. But I'm just going to grab like a nice little chunk in my hands. This is where having a towel on hand or having some paper towels on hand comes in handy. But basically what I'm going to do is just take the towel. I like to do this over some kind of cutting board so I don't damage my countertop surface. But basically you just want to butter. And it is a process, but it's well worth it in the end. Try to get it as smooth as you can around the edges. No rhyme or reason to this, just basically get in there and get down and dirty with your butter. So let me grab another little chunk. Okay, there we go. So getting this part. Here we go. And the more smoother you make this, the smoother the end result is going to be. Just give it a massage. You're massaging your hardware. And by the way, this recipe that I'm making will pretty much almost completely fill out the bun pan, so you do get a nice size cake when it's all said and done. But here's some ASMR action of the meat beater mixing. So I'll leave it as an ASMR video for a little while. Okay, good enough for me. So now here's where your paper towels come in handy. I try to wipe with the paper towels first. Get most of this butter off. Right, and our eggs are looking very good right now. That's what you're looking for, is that foamy frothiness, structure, aeration, right? Structure and aeration. You want to basically get as much air incorporated into those eggs as you possibly can. The more air you put in there, you're looking for medium peaks. When you get to about medium peaks, that's how you know that you're at a good level of stiffness. So then now what I want to do is I just want to take a little bit of cornstarch, right? Most people use flour, but then you're going to get a floury exterior. So I use the cornstarch. That way at least the exterior is a little sweeter. Also the cornstarch, when it bakes on the outside like this, it gives a nice caramelization, a nice sweet little crunch to the outside of the cake. So that's why I do that. So I'm just going to put a little bit in here, maybe like about a teaspoon or so. See if I get this right. Maybe too much, but there you go. It happens. What can you do? So let me go ahead and close this. So now what I want to do is I just basically want to wiggle this around, right, so that it gets all incorporated in there. Real world situations here, right? Of course, I'm trying to avoid dipping my hands in that grease again. But this is why it's a good idea to do everything like on a cutting board, if you can. That way you can kind of avoid, like, you know, overdoing it. That's a good idea too, is tap it, you know, tap as you go. And I think we're about there. It doesn't have to be perfect, just as long as you get it, you know, to a decently good consistency. Let me go ahead and give this another tap. Just like playing the drums, you get a pattern and a beat going. I go crazy when I hear a solo, right? Just saying. Okay, so that's good enough for me. I'm gonna set this aside. But before I do that, I do want to dry the outside off, just so that when it bakes, that outside doesn't burn up too much, because that could give you a false sense of doneness. Is if the outside, right, like this part, like all these little pieces right here, like that burning on the outside could create a false sense that your cake is burning, which is not the case. But anyways, let's go ahead and get this done. Okay, so I'm going to stick this in the fridge just to make sure that it's nice and chill, that the butter doesn't melt any more than it unnecessarily has to. So let me go ahead and do this. Get that in there. Okay, so now what I can do is I can focus now on adding the flour, the cornstarch, and the baking soda, right? If you've been following along in the videos, let me go ahead and put my butter away. And what I also want to do is let me take this off for a second. What I also want to do is I want to preheat my oven. So we're going to bake this 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. And what I'm going to do is I'm using the lower oven on the medium rack, like literally right straight in the middle. That gives you plenty of aeration all around it. So because I have a convection oven, I'm going to use a convection, or maybe I won't this time. Let's just use the regular bake. So I'm going to use the regular bake. Right, and I'm going to set it to 350, which is already at, and right now it's going to preheat. So just regular bake, no convection, just let it do what it wants to do. It's going to preheat. So I believe we're at the point. Let me go ahead and check and make sure we're at that point where we're looking for medium peak. So I'm going to shut this off. Whenever you shut off these mixers, try to do it in stages, just so that you don't shock whatever it is that you're trying to do. But now you can also hear me a little bit better as well. And now we're completely off. Okay, so this looks very gorgeous to me. What I do want to do is I want to check it. And there's a couple ways to do this. You can either lower the mixer, right? Pull off your mixing tool. And then let me go ahead and pull this out entirely so I have plenty of room to work. Very important. So now what I'm looking for is medium peaks. So right now we're at soft peaks. Right, where it's soft peak consistency. This is where most people make the mistake. They think that their eggs are looking good, and so you get that wah, wah, wah. So what you want is you want this to really mix for another maybe 5 minutes or so, which will give me time to kind of tidy up and do all that other stuff, and I'll be back with the next video of the actual pouring of the dry ingredients in there, and then we'll go from there. But anyways, if you do like what you're seeing, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button down there below. I will put links to the kitchen products that I'm using in the description section. If you have any comments of what we've done so far, please comment in the comment section. Remember, this is video, what are we at? Video part 3 in a hopefully 4 or 5 part series. We'll see how all that goes. But stay tuned for the next episode, and I'll catch you just in a bit.